Hello, my friends. Today, let's start with the situation on the front line, beginning with the Dobropilla direction. Here, the Russians have once again increased the activity. The assaulting Nikanorovka, trying to recapture the village of Sukhetske, and attacking Pankivka and Sofiivka. This means the Russians are already attempting to regain some of the positions they've lost. Late last night, there were reports of a powerful drone strike on Dobropilla, so the situation in this area remains very tense despite the Ukrainian counterattacks. Ukrainian soldiers are sharing videos showing Russian troops being destroyed on the outskirts of Volodymyrivka. That means the Ukrainians have made small gains here and trying to push forward. In the Pokrovsk direction, the Russians are assaulting Rodinske, the outskirts of Myrnohrad, breaking through near Myrolюбівка and attacking Промінь, Лисівка, Pokrovsk, Molodetske, as well as advancing near Udachne and Kotlene. However, there were no confirmed territorial changes during the past day. The fighting continues, but there are serious problems in Pokrovsk. The Russians are already claiming they've entered the Dinas industrial area. The gray zone has expanded and they are now less than 1 kilometer from the northern edge of the city. If measured from the so called red zone, that's about 1 kilometer 600 meters. Geolocation data indicates that many FPV drones of the Ukrainian armed forces were flying over the Dinas area, trying to prevent the Russians from advancing there. Still, the movement continues. Gradually, soldiers on the ground keep reporting that the situation is catastrophic. Russian drone pilots are already operating directly from Pokrovsk. This means that it's not just Russian sabotage groups inside the city, there is already a significant Russian presence. That contradicts claims from some sources that there is still a large gray zone. It's horrifying that their drone operators are already working inside the city. The attached video shows footage from Russian drone as they made test flights within the city limits. There are also problems in Myrnohrad. Here, the Russians are not holding back their reserves and are trying to advance into the city. The Russians launched a mechanized assault toward the city. Their vehicles reached the outskirts near the Molodizhny neighborhood and deployed a landing force. This was an attempt to break our line with a rapid push of armored vehicles supported by infantry, but their plan didn't go as intended. Our soldiers acted precisely. Russian vehicles were disabled and the landing troops were met with a heavy counterattack. In the end, the assault turned out bloody and unsuccessful for the Russians. They gained fuel for their own problems, not a bridgehead. Attempts like this will obviously continue. They will look for weak points, throw in vehicles recklessly, and try to break through controlled approaches. However, Myrnohrad will become a very tough epicenter of fighting for them. They will have to pay a heavy price. If they try to repeat mechanized attacks in the same way, they will lose a lot of personnel and equipment, facing prepared defenses, artillery fire, and unmanned aerial vehicle units that will finish off anyone who breaks forward. It's also very important to note that the Russians are again improving their drones. This time they are planning to fly up to 60 kilometers using fiber optic lines. The Russians claim they already have 60-kilometer fiber optic spools for drones. Currently, they usually use spools for 3, 5, 10, or 30 kilometers. Friends, this is a catastrophic situation because all cities within 60 kilometers from the front line will be under threat. In the Novopavlivka direction, the Russians are breaking through near Horihove, Sultan, Dachny, and Filia, and advancing toward Zelený Gай, Піддубне, while also attacking Alexandrograd. And despite their high activity, there are no changes on the ground so far. In the direction of Pokrovsk in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, the Russians are assaulting Novoselivka, Oleksiivka, and Verbove, advancing toward Pavlivka and attacking Uspenivka. The situation here is extremely difficult, and the Russians are gradually managing to capture new settlements. So far, it hasn't been possible to stop the advance in this area. In the Gulay-Pole direction, the Russians are breaking through near Malinivka and assaulting the village of Okhotnichne. But they have made no progress and the front line remains unchanged over the past day. In the Zaporizhia direction, the Russians continue attacks on Novodanilivka, Novoandriivka, and Stepove, and advancing from Kamensk toward Stepnogirsk. However, over the past day, there have been no new gains, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kherson direction, the Russians continue attacks near the Antonivsky Bridge and are intensively on the right bank. However, they have made no progress and they haven't been able to reach the islands. Now let's move to the Konstantinivka direction. Here, the Russians are breaking through near Chasiv Yar, assaulting the outskirts of Konstantinivka, Pleshiyivka, and Klebanbyk, advancing toward Yablonivka and Rusin Yar. The situation is extremely difficult, and fighting for Konstantinivka has effectively already begun. Ukrainian soldiers confirmed this. Konstantinivka direction. In this sector, the situation has intensified, with fighting now taking place directly within the city, particularly in the Santurinivka area. And the Russians have managed to advance and partially secure positions near the tram depot, trying to hold a foothold for further operations in urban districts. Our units are actively counterattacking, providing precise target coordinates, and methodically pushing the Russians from their positions. Drone strikes and artillery fire are continuous, and the Russians are suffering heavy losses on every approach. At the same time, this area and adjacent streets are gradually turning into a gray zone, with both sides taking losses and control changing several times a day. Our soldiers are trying to stabilize the line, but the Russians are also bringing in reserves, so the situation remains precarious. Additional reports indicate Russian activity near the Klebanbyk reservoir, where they have advanced to the southern shore. This information is still being verified, but if confirmed, they could attempt to expand their influence along the waterline. In the Kramatorsk direction, the Russians are assaulting Orikhovo-Vasilivka and advancing from Zaleznyansk toward Privilla. However, they have made no progress and all attacks in this area are being successfully repelled. In the Siversk direction, the Russians are assaulting Yampil, advancing from Serebryanka toward Siversk, attacking near Vyemka, Fedorivka, and assaulting Zvanivka. So far, over the past day, there have been no changes on the front line. In the Liman direction, the Russians are breaking through near Zarichne, Kolodyazi, Шандриголове, and the village of Serednya. However, all attacks here are being successfully repelled, and so far there have been no new breakthroughs. In the Borova direction, the Russians are advancing near Raigorodka and Zeleny High, but they have made no progress and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kupiansk direction, the Russians are breaking through near Peshane and Stepova Novoselivka. There is currently no new information about Kupiansk itself, but the Russians are clearly unable to advance further, and the front line has remained unchanged over the past day. In the Dvorichna area, the Russians are not conducting any new attacks, and the situation remains stable. In the Veliki Burluk area, the Russians continue assaults on Odradne and Bologivka, but over the past day there have been no changes and all attacks are being successfully repelled. In the Kharkiv direction, the Russians are not conducting new assaults, while in Vovchansk fighting continues. They are also attempting to assault Bochkove. We are waiting to see how this new wave of attacks will end. So far, the front line remains unchanged. In the Sumy direction, the Russians are breaking through near the villages of Konstantinivka, Oleksiivka, and Yunakivka, but they have made no progress and the front line remains stable here. At the same time, clashes are again being recorded near the village of Tyotkina. Though no further details are available about this area so far. Meanwhile, Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles continue striking Russian oil refineries, this time in Ulyanovsk Oblast, 770 kilometers from the borders of Ukraine. At the same time, President Zelensky reported that on Friday or Saturday, possible options for ending the war will be discussed again.
European coalition leaders who are interested said they would like to demonstrate their vision of quick steps together with us. This is not a plan to end the war, because, first of all, ceasefire is needed. Let's put it this way, it's a plan from which diplomacy begins, and essentially, it is the main framework. I understand it's excellent, and everyone understands that after ceasefire and with clear security guarantees, it will be very difficult for Russia to resume aggression if strong security guarantees exist. Therefore, this plan is roughly focused on that. I think in the next few days our advisors will meet. We agreed roughly on Friday or Saturday.
Unfortunately, however, no matter how much these issues are discussed, the war doesn't end. Okay, that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.